WCBI News at 10 starts now.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Cash Matlock. The Mississippi State Department of Health reports 1,434 new cases of COVID-19 with 17 new deaths. There are 17 new cases among long-term care facilities. The total number of cases since March 11th now stands at more than 51,000 with more than 1,400 deaths. It's presumed that more than 30,000 people within the state have recovered from the virus. Well, two state medical groups are making recommendations on school reopening plans. The Mississippi chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics and the Mississippi State Medical Association issued a joint statement today. In it, the groups say that schools should make every effort to safely open in person this fall, but they also offer recommendations for pre-opening that give families options. The groups say they advocate delaying the start of school to at least September 1st to give schools sufficient time to implement mitigation strategies. They also recommend requiring masks for everyone in school buildings, regardless of age. And finally, they believe that all children should have the option for virtual learning without medical justification. Both groups say young children do not appear to be super spreaders of COVID-19, but older children and teenagers may be able to spread it the same as adults. Well, whether it's in person or online, folks all around the area are gearing up to go back to school. Today, volunteers with Emerson Family Center handed out free school supply kits. The event takes place every year outside of the Sportsplex in Starkville and usually services about 600 area students. However, in light of the coronavirus pandemic, the giveaway switched to a drive-through format and was held at the Family Center parking lot. Organizers say they expect turnout to be even greater this year because of a rise in unemployment.
School supplies for pre-K through 12, and we have also parenting information, because at the heart of what we do here at Emerson Family Center, we try to make sure that we're doing things to enrich our families. It really does take a community to do things right in a community, and so I think what we said to all of our volunteers, it's always good to just do good and be able to help other people.
Local dentists, eye doctors, and chiropractors provided each of today's students with free screenings. The Starkville Police Department was also on hand to help with traffic. Well, Governor Reeves has repeatedly said he's not interested in shutting down the state again, but he's taking some steps that he believes will limit the spread of the virus while keeping small businesses in operation. Courtney Ann Jackson explains.
Bars and the spread of the virus among the younger population isn't a new topic in one of these briefings with Governor Tate Reeves. But Friday, he took action. They will now only be allowed to sell alcohol to seated customers.
You cannot safely crowd up by the bar and mix with lots and lots and lots of people.
There will also be a time restriction with alcohol sales at bars and restaurants not taking place between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m.
Because we know that that's when these crowds, primarily of young people, throw social distancing out the window.
It's a more lenient approach than some surrounding states.
The decision-making process is trying to weigh a strong philosophical bent against doing anything to hurt small businesses, while at the same time doing everything in our power to make sure that we slow the spread of this virus.
Another statewide change limits social gatherings. Indoors, no more than 10, and outdoors, no more than 20. State Health Officer Dr. Thomas Dobbs says it's critical.
Anytime you put a lot of people together, especially indoors, but also outdoors, social stuff is killing us. It's going to be a party. It's going to be just people hanging out. It's going to be things that normally we applaud as a strong element of society, funerals and churches and that sort of thing. Anytime we put people together, there's going to be a risk, and we really, just for now, we need to avoid being around other folks as much as we can.
And although there's no statewide mask mandate, with the addition of 6 more counties for enhanced restrictions, more than half of the state's population is now required to wear a mask. Courtney Ann Jackson, WCBI News.
This amended safe return order is in effect until Monday, August 3rd at 8 a.m.
We had some heavier pockets of showers and storms across much of the area today, and still some showers and storms out there right now. One I've been watching basically blossomed up right on top of Starkville over toward western Oktibbeha County. Also some lighter to moderate rain through Noxubee and Pickens County. All of this generally drifting off to the north and west. and I think will really continue to weaken here over the next couple of hours. So tonight, generally, most of us dry after about midnight or so. We're looking for 73 in the low in Columbus, 73 as well in Tupelo, 72 in West Point under a partly cloudy sky. Again, showers early, drier once we get past midnight. Over the next 3 days, though, rain chances continue to increase. By Tuesday, we're up to about a 50-50 shot of seeing rain through the day. And those increased rain chances keep our temperatures down just a little bit. We'll be down into the lower 90s to upper 80s by the middle of the week. But there's a lot more rain where that came from. I've got more details coming up in my first alert forecast. Cash.
All right, thanks, Trevor. 6 days of events honoring Representative John Lewis began Saturday in Troy, Alabama, the hometown that helped shape his lifelong quest for racial justice. In 1986, Lewis was elected to the House and became known as the conscience of the Congress. He died last Friday at the age of 80. CBS News correspondent Michelle Miller reports from Selma, Alabama, where Lewis became a part of history in the civil rights movement.
He was a man of action.
U.S. Representative John Lewis's hometown of Troy, Alabama, celebrated the civil rights pioneer's life with love, music, and prayer.
Good trouble allowed John to cross bridges blockaded by legalized lynchmen who were inspired by the false notion of racial supremacy.
The Georgia Democrat's siblings recalled his character, even in a phone call the day before he lost his battle to late-stage pancreatic cancer.
And his last word was, "How's the family doing? How's everybody doing?"
He always wanted to improve the lives of others without any concern for himself. This is not a goodbye. It's just a different kind of hello.
Saturday evening, the city of Selma pays tribute to Lewis and his legacy.
It was right here in Selma when Lewis and protesters seeking equal voting rights began their 54-mile march to Montgomery.
Practicing nonviolent protest, the marchers got as far as the foot of the Edmund Pettus Bridge.
Turn around and disperse.
And they came toward us, beating us with nightsticks, using tear gas and trampling us with horses.
2 weeks after the attack, remembered as Bloody Sunday, Lewis and hundreds more, including Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., completed the march. In a ceremony Sunday, Lewis's casket will be brought across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, making that inspiring journey one last time. Michelle Miller, CBS News, Selma, Alabama.
Over the next week, Representative Lewis will lie in state at the Capitol in Washington, D.C., as well as the Alabama and Georgia state capitals. His funeral will be held Thursday at Atlanta's famed Ebenezer Baptist Church. Well, the Flag Commission is complete after Governor Tate Reeves names his 3 appointees. The governor has picked Betsy Hamilton with the Mississippi Department of Archives and History, Tribal Chief Cyrus Ben with the Mississippi Economic Council, who's also the chief of the Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians, and Frank Bordeaux with the Mississippi Arts Commission. Governor Reeves signed the bill to change the state flag on June 30th by law. The governor had to appoint 3 people from these 3 organizations to be a part of the Mississippi Flag Commission. The group of 9 has until September 14th to come up with a new design. The commission held its first meeting earlier this week. Well, take a look at this cell phone video captured earlier today by our own Bobby Martinez. You can see 2 cars collided with each other near a cookout restaurant in Columbus. Looks like one of the vehicles was attempting to pull out onto the main roadway when it crashed with another vehicle. There's no word yet on if anyone was injured in the accident. Columbus Police and Baptist Memorial Hospital responded to the scene. Well, because of precautions surrounding COVID-19, many schools and programs have opted for drive-by and virtual graduations. Today, East Mississippi Community College Division of Nursing and Allied Health held a drive-through graduation celebration celebrating students from the nursing program. Helen Abrams, a graduate from the program, says living through and graduating during a health crisis has given her a greater appreciation and respect for her chosen career.
Especially a pandemic, I never thought I would graduate as a graduate and come into a pandemic working. So this only going to make me stronger, a stronger nurse. And I feel like I'm very prepared. EMCC prepared me and made an impact on my life from day one. So I'm really excited. I'm really excited. I'm not nervous. I'm nervous a little bit, but I got this.
Family and friends decorated their cars to honor the graduates and now nurses for their accomplishments. The ceremony was broadcast over the radio so everyone could listen in their cars. Coming up, a Macon woman celebrates a significant milestone. We're going to have more on this story after the break. Don't go anywhere.
WCBI News at 10 p.m. with Cash Matlock.
Welcome back, everyone. A Macon woman is celebrating a special milestone. She's turning 100 years old. Our Savannah Gato has more on the story. Take a look.
Family and friends are giving Joy Carlson the celebration she deserves. She's turning 100 years old and enjoying all of the attention that comes with living for an entire century.
Sort of overwhelmed. This whole birthday thing has been overwhelming. You know, it's been nonstop. Not that I don't enjoy it and love the people who are doing it, but it has been sort of nonstop.
When reflecting on her life and accomplishments, she's quick to acknowledge the love and support of others along the way.
The people I've met and the places I've been. As I look back over my life, there wasn't a single advance that I made in life without the help of someone.
And she has some wisdom for younger generations trying to reach their goals.
Don't ever be afraid to go. I went alone. And don't ever be afraid if you need to ask someone something.
Miss Carlson says when the celebrations are over, she plans to retreat to a quiet place to recover.
There's a place out called, I think, the Founding. And I said, when this clears away, I'm going out there for a week to meditate. It's a joke, big joke. Going out there to just meditate.
Well, Joy also recalled living through malaria and World War II. She says she's had the opportunity to travel and live all around the world.
Hurricane Hannah has officially made landfall in South Texas, leaving behind a trail of destruction. Coming up after the break, I'll have your full tropical update and a look at our local forecast. Stay with us. We're back right after this.
Your WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with meteorologist Trevor Burchett.
Several rounds of showers and storms across portions of the area today. We'll get to what's going on right now on radar in just a bit. First off, I want to show you the time lapse of the sunset from Columbus today. We stayed mostly dry here in downtown, but we did have one little storm cell try to fire up. Didn't really amount to much of anything. Actually led to a really nice sunset there right at the end over Lowndes County on the Alpha Insurance camera network. Here's radar right now. As I mentioned, there are still a few showers and storms out there. Really just along and south of Highway 82. Most folks off to the north are dry. I've been watching one little cell that's firing up basically right over Oktibbeha County. If you're in Starkville right now, over towards Self Creek and Adaton, you're probably hearing the thunder and seeing a lot of lightning right now. This thing is kind of just raining itself out right over western Oktibbeha County. Could sneak its way into Webster County here in the next little bit, but in general, I think it's just kind of dissipate right there where it is. Down to the south, some lighter rain through Pickens County up through Lamar County. But as I mentioned, really for the most part, we are trending downward in terms of rainfall for the next couple of hours. The big story right now, though, is Hurricane Hannah. It made landfall earlier today in southern Texas. You see the eye wall there spinning as it came on shore just to the south of Corpus Christi. And where you see the brighter colors here, that's some of that heavier rain and some of those gustier winds. Right now, still 75-mile-an-hour winds. Pressure is down to 979 millibars. Moving to the west-southwest at about 21 miles an hour. That's good news. That's a lot quicker than most hurricanes move. So hopefully not as much of a flooding concern for our friends down in South Texas. The winds, though, they are picking up. 77-mile-an-hour gust in Port Mansfield, 51 in Corpus, 46 in Alice. We've seen upwards of 85-mile-an-hour gusts. And really the worst of the storm, part of it is still offshore. So a long night for folks ahead south of Corpus Christi. Lots of stuff going on out in the ocean. We're also tracking Hurricane Douglas. It's poised to make landfall and affect Hawaii through the day tomorrow. Very rare for a hurricane to affect Hawaii. As I mentioned, Hurricane Hannah in Texas. What's left of Tropical Storm Gonzalo, no longer a storm, just kind of fizzled out right there in the southern Caribbean. Our next item of interest, though, is coming off the west coast of Africa. Just a little blob of thunderstorm activity now, but we think it's going to get into some warmer water and could become Tropical Storm or Hurricane Isaias before it gets a little closer to the U.S. So something to watch here over the next couple of days. But in general, no concerns in the tropical department for Mississippi and Alabama for the next several days. Tonight, 73 for the low. Some quick downpours, thunder and lightning for the next couple of hours. Generally after midnight, I think we're on the dry side. Staying very mild and muggy tonight. Tomorrow, we're basically going to do it all over again. We'll wake up dry. Showers and storms build through the afternoon. Highs in the low to mid-90s. Really, rain chances continue here for the next several days, picking up just a little bit, actually. I think by the end of this week, a lot of folks could rack up anywhere from 2 to 3 inches of rainfall, depending on if you get into one of those heavier downpours. You see this model estimating about 1.5 inches in Columbus, just over that to the north along Highway 82. You'll see why on the AccuWeather 7-day forecast. 30% chance of rain tomorrow, 40 for Monday, but we bump them up. 50 to 60% chance for rain through the middle and end portion of the week. Even going into the weekend, better chances for some showers and storms. Not everybody sees rain every day, but just keep the umbrella on standby just to be on the safe side. The good news is the better rain chances do knock our temperatures down just a few degrees. Instead of being in the low 90s, we are looking at highs in the mid to upper 80s. Overnight lows generally going to stay in the low 70s, but the good news is no severe weather expected over the next several days, and maybe some cooler temperatures here by the end of the week.
After the break, we say goodbye to a broadcast legend. Don't go anywhere. On a much more somber note tonight, longtime TV host Regis Philbin has died. CBS News' Laura Podesta has more from New York.
Regis Philbin was one of the most familiar entertainers on television. He's said to have logged more hours in front of the camera than anyone else in the history of the medium. In more recent years, Philbin was the first host of the very popular TV game show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, which tested contestants' knowledge of trivia.
And it's going to make it your final answer. I'm going to do that. You're right for 250.
For 23 years, he served as co-host on Live with Regis and Kathy Lee, and later Live with Regis and Kelly, when Kelly Ripa replaced Kathy Lee Gifford. The Bronx, New York native was always prepared with a story, joke, and a smile. He appeared as a guest on countless other shows, including on CBS's Late Show after David Letterman announced his retirement.
But now you're leaving.
Yeah, that's right.
So where does that leave Regis?
I don't care.
Where am I going to go?
I don't know.
In a statement, Philbin's family said, "We thank his fans and admirers for their incredible support over his 60-year career and ask for privacy as we mourn his loss." Regis Philbin was 88 years old. Laura Podesta, CBS News, New York.
Philbin would have turned 89 next month. Well, Courtney Robb joins us for WCBI Sports after the break. You don't want to miss it. Stay with us.
Your WCBI Sports with Courtney Robb. WCBI Sports 2020 High School Football Tour is brought to you by Itawamba Community College, Cannon Ford of Starkville, Monroe County Farm Bureau, Max South Broadband, and the Bank of Vernon.
The Hebron Christian Eagles are ready to compete in 2020 no matter what the challenge. The Eagles senior class has experienced plenty of challenges along the way to their final year.
They played high school football in the 8th grade because I didn't have any high school play. I had 3, and they came up and helped them, and we took some pretty good whoopings along the way.
Everybody says senior year is our year. We're going to try to make it our year. We just got to have good effort and play the best we can and hope to make it as far as we can in the season.
Foster says the team now has the experience to be a competitive team in the 8-man 2A division.
Planning to play football, that's what we're going to do, you know. And if they tell us we can't, then we won't. And they bought into that. I mean, they worked hard. We work out here in the field. We worked in the weight room one night because we had a thunderstorm coming through. But we stayed out here on the field, hadn't done a bunch of weights except out here. We ran a lot. We flipped tires. Kind of go back to old school type stuff.
The Eagles are coming off a 2-8 regular season where the team made the playoffs for the first time since 2015. Foster says he wants to see his team make the playoffs year after year.
We want to win as many games as we can, just see how far we can go in the playoffs. We used to make the playoffs, so we want to get back to that. You know, we want to get back to that tradition where they know Hebron's coming and they're going to give you a game when they get there, and then the best man wins after that.
And I'm looking to getting forward with the guys
we're going to go as far as we can this season, and I'm ready to play with each and every one of them.
Working with a smaller team, Foster wants all of his players to make an impact.
I want everybody to shine, because when somebody scores, guess who scores? We scored. You know, that's my deal. I don't care who scores. We scored, you know, so I try to stress that. So they better all stand out if we want to win games.
The Eagles start the season off against Marvel Academy on August 21st. Reporting at Hebron Christian on the high school football tour, Courtney Robb, WCBI Sports.
WCBI Sports 2020 High School Football Tour with Hebron Christian is brought to you by Bank of Manti and Calhoun Banking Center.
Pop-up showers and storms continuing here for the next couple of days. Rain chances do increase, though, by the middle and end portion of the week, so just keep the umbrella on standby. Overall highs in the upper 80s to low 90s, overnight lows in the 70s.
Umbrella on standby, my new catchphrase.
Absolutely.
It's actually my new hit single coming to you soon.
Love it.
Just kidding. Thank you, Trevor. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow.